like, subscribe, and leave a comment. So we're back. I thought I'd do another rant, Bitman TV rant. Haven't done a rant in a little while. I think the last one was 2 or 3 months ago. So I thought I'd do a rant on here. I just want to say, firstly, before I get into anything else, I just want to say thank you to everybody who subscribed to my channel. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate you. This is our community. As I said before, if there's anything you want me to do a video on or talk about or cover, just leave in the messages, leave in the comments below, and I'll do it for you. I'll do it, or DM me on the links below as well, and I'll cover it for you. I always cover any requests. I cover them. So obviously, if I get too many requests, I can't cover everything. But if you come at me with something you want me to cover, I will more than happily oblige. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who's supporting me, who watches this channel. Even if you watch it for 2 seconds, just thank you very much. We're here, Bitman TV. So it's a rant. So rant time. So the first subject we're gonna cover is Conor McGregor. Yeah, Conor. I can't do. What you saying? No, I can't do the accent. My bad. My bad. I could do it before. I've done one before. I can't remember what I said. No, I think there was profanity in it. All right, cool. Yeah. So obviously Conor McGregor is back. I did an announcement video before. Go and look at it. It's in my video list. I did talk about him versus Chandler being confirmed. There was some comments saying I'm not gonna say it's not confirmed till it comes from Dana. This came from Dana when I did the video. Dana White said Conor McGregor's fighting Michael Chandler. This is why I did the video. I try with my videos, I try not to do anything that's rumored. I try to stick to things that are confirmed, and that's happened. That's what I try to stick to. Obviously some rumor stuff can drop if there's strong rumors. If I see enough sources that something's going to happen, then I'll do a video on it. But I try to do videos and things that are actually factual and that's going to happen. So that's why I did it on Conor McGregor before it was announced, because it looked like there was from enough sources it looked like it was going to happen. With Conor McGregor, there's things we got to look at. I'm not going to do a prediction now. I'm not doing a prediction. That'll be close to the time in June when the fight is. With Conor McGregor is coming back from an injury, the same injury that Chris Weidman had, the same injury that Anderson Silva had, similar, a leg break. I know I've listened to things where Anderson Silva was interviewed, and even Chris Weidman, they wasn't the same. They didn't feel the same. They had to test the leg. And the thing is, how much do you test the leg in training? Do you test the leg a lot in training? Like, if it goes in there and it's not fully tested, you could break it again in training. Or do you test it in live combat? That's the thing. So if Conor McGregor is confident and he's tested the leg and he feels that he's 100% himself, then he should be in there confident as that he has all his tools. His tools being his hands, his feet, his legs. You should be confident he has all his tools. If he comes in there fully confident, then it could be a really good fight. The thing about Chandler as well, Chandler's pretty muscled up. He's a pretty muscly guy. So the lactic acid will build up if he tries to wrestle with Conor McGregor. So I'm envisioning this being probably a stand-up fight. I reckon it's probably going to be a stand-up fight between them two, because we saw what happened with Chandler, and when he fought Dustin Poirier, he did wrestle a bit. He did strike, but he did wrestle a lot, and then he got tired, and then he got submitted. So the thing is with Conor, he's a strong 3-round fighter. 3 rounds fighter. He's a strong 3-round fighter. But when he gets to the 4th and 5th, he's gone the 4th and 5th previously. Last time I remember him doing that was against Nate Diaz at UFC 202. And they struggled. He did look exhausted. He looked exhausted because he does put a lot into his shots. But it's going to be an interesting fight, because I'm telling myself, who has a better gas tank out of them two? Maybe leaning towards Chandler, but I don't know. Conor could surprise us. Don't. This is what I try to say to everybody. Everyone says, Conor's washed up. I see it. Conor's washed up. He's this. He should retire. He's on his boat. I get all that, but just remember, he was the first champ. He's the former featherweight champion, the former interim featherweight champion, I should say, the former featherweight champion, the former lightweight champion, the first champ. He's got it in him to get this done. He has got it in him to get it done. Don't be mistaken and don't count out Conor McGregor. That's what I'm trying to say. Do not count him out. I ain't counting him out. So it's gonna be interesting because, like I said, if Michael Chandler goes for the wrestling, he's gonna get tired, and then Conor can just pick him apart. Conor does fade a bit in the 4th and 5th. Any other fighter, most fighters fade in the 4th and 5th, so it's nothing special. It's nothing new. Obviously, you have Chandler does have tools that can finish the fight. Look what he did to Tony Ferguson, the front kick. He can finish the fight. He can definitely finish this fight. But McGregor can as well. McGregor keeps it at a distance, uses his teep kicks, fights how he likes to fight, bouncy, keeps his distance. Could be a Conor all day. Or Chandler could mix it up with wrestling and striking as well. So it could be very interesting. But I'm very curious to see what kind of Conor turns up. And one thing about Conor is hands. Obviously, we know he's fought Dustin Poirier a couple of times, but his hands still should be really good because obviously he does like his boxing. He likes his boxing a lot. So you'd think his hands should be pretty good in this fight. I'm sure he's been training his hands in for this match. His jiu-jitsu. I know he's been doing a lot of wrestling, jiu-jitsu as well. And he has underrated takedown defense. If you look at his fight versus Khabib, it was a really good fight. He went 4 rounds with Khabib. The takedown defense looked good as well. His takedown defense looked really good against Khabib, for sure. But Khabib is obviously, he's a monster. He's a monster. I would like to see him come back, Khabib, but I don't think... I would have liked to see in a rematch, because I know after the fight, Conor did say he went in there with the wrong strategy, and he should have done a different strategy. He said, I think he spoke about being more defensive than offensive. So I would have liked to see a rematch between the two. But obviously that didn't happen. Khabib is now retired. But it's going to be interesting to see how Conor manages this fight, how Chandler manages this fight. It's built up. Apparently it has the biggest gate ever in UFC history, over 20 million gate. I think the one below that was 17 million. I believe that was at New York UFC 205. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to seeing Conor come back. The thing about Conor cards is the card is never stacked to like a UFC 300 sort of caliber. You always get, it's like a top heavy card, and you get some decent fights below it. You don't have like a top to bottom stacked card. I don't know if it's because of the money that Conor has to be paid, things like that. I have no idea. But looking at the card, it looks okay. I know for what I know, obviously you got Conor versus Chandler in the main event, and then you have Roundtree versus Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill with a very quick turnaround there. That's a really good fight. That's a solid fight. I'm looking forward to that, and some other fights. But obviously, nearer the time, I'll go into more detail about that. But I'm looking forward to see what Conor does on his return for sure, and how he got over this injury. Then we will talk about quickly the main event of UFC 302, Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. This is a great fight. This is a great fight. I like this fight. I'm gonna predict it now. I'm not gonna predict the fight. I'm just gonna predict something. I don't know who's gonna win. Well, I'll look into it more closer to the time I'll do my prediction. But by the way, it's raining here. This is England. Of course, it's raining. It's the summer right now, but it's raining. This is England. It was actually warm in the week. Now it's raining. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna say this. I'm not saying who's gonna win or lose right now. I'm just gonna say this. If Dustin Poirier loses this match, I see him retiring. I see him calling it a day. I think if he loses this match, he's gonna call it a day. He will call it a day. He will retire in the ring. I'm quite confident he will. I feel he's nearly there. I think he just wants his last shot to see if he can do it, if he's good enough. If he doesn't do it, then I think he might be done. I don't want him to retire, but I've watched a lot of his videos in his interviews. I feel he could be done after this. But it's going to be a great match. You don't know what could happen. This is MMA. This is MMA. Anything could happen. He could hit a ghillie. Could hit a guillotine. It could be a knockout. Look what he did to Saint Denis in his previous fight. Benoit Saint Denis. That was a nasty finish at UFC 299. So we'll see. As for Islam Makhachev, the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC right now, rightfully so, I do agree, he is the #1 pound-for-pound fighter right now. Obviously, he's got Khabib in his corner. He's got his mentor. That's his guy. That's his go-to guy, yeah? He's got his guy to talk to about these fights, about especially fighting Dustin Poirier. They can brainstorm. They can game plan. And apparently, as posted by Islam, Khabib is in his corner for this fight. Khabib is actually training. He's there with Islam Makhachev. So this is going to be a really good fight. I'm really looking forward to this. What we're going to see? Well, the thing is, look at how it's going to be. I reckon Islam's going to try and recreate what Khabib did to Dustin. He's going to try and recreate that. He's going to mix in some striking and then heavy on the wrestling. Try and put him against the fence. Look for a guillotine. Look for a rear naked choke is what I probably see happening with Islam's game. With what he's probably going to try and do. It's potentially what he's probably going to try and do. It's going to be a good fight. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Don't count out Dustin Poirier, because what I'm thinking is with Dustin Poirier, he's probably gone back. He's worked on what went wrong in the Khabib fight. Sorry, came out in the end, and he's going to look to obviously not let that happen again. If he just puts more wrestling, working on his wrestling or working on his submission defense, I'm sure he's doing that. More work into his rear naked choke or guillotine defense, I'm sure he's doing that. So it's not going to be as easy as it was the first time when Dustin Poirier was submitted by Khabib. It's going to be a lot harder for Islam to do that. I think it's going to be a lot harder for him to do that. With the wrestling, I don't think anyone can stop Islam's wrestling. No one can stop his wrestling. So it's going to be very interesting. But Dustin Poirier can get this fight won. He can get it done. He definitely can get this done. But you're going against Khabib. He's one of the best. He is the best right now. He's the best #1 pound-for-pound, #1 lightweight fighter. He's beating everybody right now. He's beating some of the best guys. He's beating Charles Oliveira. He's beating Arman. But that was old Arman. New Arman, I'm looking forward to that fight. If Islam gets through this fight, I'm really looking forward to a full camp Arman Sarukian. It's going to be very, very interesting because their first fight was quite close. Islam did win, but it was with a lot of resistance. This is going to be a very interesting fight with a full camp Arman. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a really good fight. But with here, as I said, don't count out Dustin. Dustin can get this done. He definitely can get this done. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But I know Khabib is in Islam's corner, so it's going to be very interesting to see what he comes with. It's probably going to, like I said, come with the same type of thing he came with before. What Khabib with was wrestle heavy, keep Dustin against the fence, and look for the submission against the fence. It's probably what I'm looking at. Probably what's going to happen. What he's going to look for to happen. But then Dustin obviously needs to stop the wrestling. He needs to have something in place to stop that. His jiu-jitsu is good. His striking, boxing is probably the best in the lightweight division. So it's going to be an interesting fight. It's going to be a very interesting fight. And close to the time, which is soon, I'll put out my predictions through that fight. So I'm looking forward to it. Then, obviously, this Saturday, it's going to be Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. I know someone here is going to correct me as well on my pronunciation. If not, cool. This is going to be a great fight. This is for all the 4 titles within the heavyweight division. It's going to be an interesting fight. Obviously, with Tyson Fury, the way he fights previously, he was sort of on his bike a bit. Bam, 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 keeping it moving on his bike, lateral movement. He does get dropped. We have to be honest. I'm from the UK. Tyson Fury is a couple hours away from me. He does get dropped. We have to be honest. He gets dropped. He does get dropped. But he still wins the fight. He gets dropped. Maybe when he gets dropped, it wakes him up. It wakes him up, then he comes back. But previously, he fights, he's on his bike. Bam, bam, bam. Lateral movement. That's how he was fighting before. Head movement. Bam, bam, bam. Now, recently, he's partnered back up with Sugar. He's training training coach, the sugar, I forgot what you called him, but I know it's called Sugar. He's more standing in the pocket, trading, looking for knockout. Look what he did to Deontay Wilder. He's now trading in the pocket. He's now looking for he's putting his weight on, putting the weight on him, and then looking for the knockout. He's now way more offensive than he was previously. Before it was defensive, and kept it moving, lateral movement. Now he's like staying in the pocket, knocking people out and taking it to him. So it's going to be interesting. Then you have obviously Usyk. Usyk is super skilled. He's really skilled. One of the most skilled heavyweights of this generation. The thing is with Usyk, he hasn't got that many fights. I think he's got like 21 fights, I believe, or 21, something like that. But a lot of his experiences in the amateurs, he's fought hundreds of fights in the amateurs. He's won and lost fights in the amateurs. That's where he's honed his craft. Now you see the result of having hundreds of fights in the amateurs to now fighting professionally, which is why he's now beating everybody up. He's now beating a lot of people now. He's undefeated. Started at cruiserweight, moved up to heavyweight, and he's beating heavyweights. So it's going to be a very interesting fight. I think it comes down to what Tyson Fury do we see? Do we see the Tyson Fury from old on his bike, bam bam bam, keeping it moving, bam bam bam, peppering, not really looking for the knockout with a knockout power, but peppering, or are we seeing the new sort of Sugar Tyson Fury where he's going to put his weight on him and he's going to look for the knockout, he's going to hunt him down, look for the knockout and put his weight on him? Like, are we going to see that? Obviously it may be the latter, because he's now with Sugar, and that's how Sugar sort of trains. He's looking to put weight on Usyk and just start hunting him down and knock him out. But the thing is, as with fighting and with boxing, if you're looking for the knockout punch, you will probably lose a decision. If you're looking for a knockout punch, you'll lose a decision. So I think we're going to see from Tyson, it's going to be a mixture. It's going to be a mixture of the Sugar style, putting his weight on him, looking for the knockout punch, but also keeping it on his bike as well. With Usyk's super skilled. Is a magician in there. His front leg, the way he moves, his lateral movement, his combinations, he won't stop. You know what I mean? His head movement, his slips punches. He's a handful for anybody. This is why both of these two fighters are undefeated. Someone's O has to go. I know you've heard that loads of times. So it's going to be a very, very interesting fight. I've done my prediction on that already. You can go and watch it if you want. I've already done my prediction on that. But it's going to be a really good fight. I am going to be watching that live as well. So I'll do my reaction. I'll do my post-fight analysis of that. I'm going to do a live here as well at some point with everybody. If you would like to live, we can talk. Send me messages, we can talk. The next fight I want to talk about, and this is the last thing from the UFC, is Khamzat Chimaev versus Robert Whitaker. Now, this fight, I don't know, it's a bit crazy. I feel like Khamzat's been put through the ringer here, because he was promised a world title shot quite a few times previously, and that he was a number one contender. In his last fight, he was promised a fight for the title if he wins, if he gets past Usman, and he did. But what I think was, I don't think it was convincing enough. I think the UFC are not convinced enough yet to give him a title shot, because Usman came off the bench. He came off the couch a couple days notice, made 185, and then went to split decision. Some people think Usman won the fight. Usman said himself, if he had more belief in himself, he would have won that fight. So he would have went harder. So So I understand if Khamzat has to prove himself a little bit more, but he was promised a title shot. But this is it. This is it. If Khamzat can get through Robert Whitaker, there's no denying him. He'll be undeniable now. Not saying that Robert Whitaker's a gatekeeper, but when Dricus beat Robert Whitaker, he got a title shot. He's the only person I can say, because no one else has really beaten Robert Whitaker since Izzy. That's it, really. So if Khamzat can get through Whitaker, he will get a title shot. He has to get a title shot. There's no doubt. Now, if Whitaker beats Khamzat, because I don't know what's happening yet. It looks like I think it's UFC 305. in Australia. It may be headlined by Izzy versus Dricus, potentially. Could be. I don't know. So if Robert Whitaker wins against Khamzat, will he fall into the winner of that? The problem is that he would have fought Izzy twice. He also just got finished by Dricus. So it's going to be, they're going to probably need to stack that card like 299, like a 300 card, because I'm not sure what you good people out there would be too interested in a rematch of one of the two against Rob Whitaker. I will. I don't care. I watch everything. I watch every single pay-per-view card. I watch 301. I watch everything. I watch everything. But I'm not sure if everybody will be sort of clamoring for that fight. But we'll see. But it's going to be this is going to be an interesting test for Khamzat, because he hasn't gone 5 rounds. He hasn't gone 5 rounds. It's always been 3-round fights, and this is going to be a good test. Let's see what it's like in the 4th and 5th. Khamzat said he can go 100 rounds. I hope he can. But let's see how he does in the 4th and 5th is what I want to see. Robert Whitaker can go 5 rounds. He's done it multiple times. He's gone 5 rounds. Look at the wars against Yo Romero. He's gone 5 rounds with Izzy previously. He's a 5-round fighter. He's got cardio for days. He's fought fight nights and gone 5 rounds as well. Look at no, it wasn't a fight night. Yeah, but yeah, he can go 5 rounds. He can definitely go 5 rounds. He's proven in the 5-round, especially against Yo Romero. That was war. So he can go 5 rounds, but can Khamzat go 5 rounds? I think this is the question that will be answered. And how good is Robert Whitaker's takedown defense? Can he stop the takedown from Khamzat? This is going to be the question. Can he stop the takedown from Khamzat? This is going to be the thing. His jiu-jitsu is good. Robert Whitaker's jiu-jitsu is good. And his wrestling is good as well. Anti-wrestling is good as well. But can he stop the takedown from Khamzat? That's going to be the question here. So I'm looking forward to that. Plus, Khamzat is fighting a bigger guy. So he's fighting a real, well, he's fighting a, yeah, I'd say he's fighting a real 185er. But Robert Whitaker did come up from 170. But he's fighting a real 185. I'd say he's a real 185. He's been a champion at 185. So he's a real 185. So this will be a real test for Khamzat. I like this fight. I did think Khamzat was going to get a title shot, but I get it. People want to see more. So UFC want to see more. Obviously, this is the UFC. They're making a decision here. Or they would have given the fight already, the title fight. But obviously, they haven't. They're giving him this fight. He has to do it. So they want him to prove more and then give him the title shot. I think they want him. They need him to get a win over a proper certified 185er, and then he can get the fight. But this is going to be, if you're looking at 185ers, this is the top of the mountain. Besides the champion and Izzy, this is, and Sean Strickland, I'd say this is the next best thing. You get through Robert Whitaker, you get a title shot. So we'll see what happens in there. I am looking forward to this fight. I can't wait. Obviously, closer to the time, I will do a breakdown and a prediction, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Now we'll skirt over to WWE. Obviously, I did say that I thought Roman Reigns would win against Codyrhodes, but he didn't. He lost. Congratulations to Cody, the Cody era. We haven't seen Roman Reigns since, so I'm not sure what's happening there. With Codyrhodes, I like Cody. I like Roman. I like all of them. They're doing a great job. I think we're trying to go with Cody as a 2024 Hogan, like All American Nightmare, and all this stuff. And I like it. I like what Cody's doing. I like where he's going with it. So we'll see. Just beat AJ Styles. He's gonna face Logan Paul next. That would be a good match. I'm not sure. I think he does need to face like a Randy Orton. Let's get him there with Randy. I want to see that match. And I'm not sure where we go with it. We just put him through the ringer. Let's let him face everybody, see how he gets on. With Roman Reigns, apparently Roman Reigns is scheduled to be back in August. I think August the 15th or the 14th. Whenever Friday Night SmackDown it is, around about mid-August. I believe he's scheduled to be back around that time. So we'll see what happens. If I was Roman and I was coming back creative, I would put Roman to come back and sort of change to a baby face and sort of have him apologizing to everybody. Like, he should come back. He should be really humble. It's either going to go 2 ways. Roman's going to come back. It's going to be Roman Reigns is going to come back. He's going to be really humble, apologize to the fans, apologize to the bloodline for losing, or he's going to come back. He's going to blame someone before it going wrong. So we'll see. But the bloodline has obviously changed because there's always different members in there now. Tonga and everybody else, so it's changed. So we'll see. But Codyrhodes is doing a great job. Congratulations to Codyrhodes. We'll see how far he can get. Will he be the champion this time next year? I probably think he will be. I think he will be. I don't think you can take Roman's. Roman had that title for like 4 years, 3 years. You can't just take the title from him and just lose it in 6 months. I think he has to have a good, really good run. So I see Cody still having the title this time next year. But will Roman challenge Cody for the title again? We'll see. He could do. I'm not sure what happened if he does. We'll see. When you go over to Raw, Damian Priest is champion. He's got the championship. Congratulations, Damian Priest. I think we just need to see a bit more from him. Just to like solidify him as a champion. Him versus Drew would do wonders for him. I think we just need to see a bit more from him. But I think him versus Drew would do good for him. I think that would be a good fight, a good match. If he gets that victory, it will solidify more, give him more mic time. I think we need more mic time as well for him. There's this. I like Damian Priest. I think he's great, but I think there's a few improvements they need to make on his reign, just to make sure it's a solid reign. Then we can go. That's my rant with WWE. We'll see who's going to win the Royal Rumble. I'm looking forward to see who's going to win the Money in the Bank. I'm really looking forward to see who's going to win that. My thoughts are leaning towards two people. It could be LA Knight, potentially. LA Knight, yeah. Or it could be the Yeet Master, Jey Uso. It potentially could be Jey Uso. Or Jey Uso could win the Royal Rumble. But I would like to see something happen with Jey Uso. I like Jey Uso. So potentially it could be him. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's WWE. Let's skirt into AEW. Only thing I want to cover sort of is Swerve Strickland. Obviously, congratulations to Swerve Strickland. Great champion. I've been rooting for Swerve. He got the title. I'm so happy for him as well. But week in, week out, he's been getting beat down. He's been catching some beat downs. Beat down by the Anarchy. Beat down by the Embassy. He's been getting left laying. So I would like to see Swerve Strickland sort of stand up for himself, but he did do that. He did that recently on Collision. He stood up for himself against the Embassy. So I'd like to see him sort of keep him a bit stronger. He's getting beaten down a lot. I don't like to see him getting beat down. A champion, especially just a new champion, should be quite dominant. And then later on in his reign, should start getting beaten down, but not beaten down straight away. I know there was some uproar online about the fact after Swerve Strickland won the title, he didn't get to talk about his title winner or have a celebration on Dynamite. They just let him work a match, and then he did this on Collision. So I'm not sure why. I'm sure they know. Maybe they want to get more views on Collision. Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't write the producer shows, but we'll see. But Swerve Strickland is the right champion right now. Congratulations to him. I think he's doing an awesome job. I'm happy for him. I wanted to see him as champion, and I'm glad he's champion now. I did want to see him win it at All In though, but they pulled the trigger on him quite early. I wanted to see him win it at All In the best sort of potential stadium. What I would say though, this is my 2 cents. All In August. Here's my recommendation for the main event. So far as I know, this is the biggest show in AEW. I don't know, someone correct me if I'm wrong. Is the biggest show. This is like AEW's WrestleMania. So the biggest fight, the match I would say to do would be Swerve Strickland versus Adam Copeland in the main event. That is what I would say. I think that would be a hell of a match. If you want to do no DQ, do no DQ. If you want to do a normal match, do a normal match. That is what I would say to do for All In. I think that would be an absolute barn burner. They're both great wrestlers. And also, I think Will Ospreay is doing great work as well. I like Will Ospreay. He's one of the best wrestlers right now. So I'd like to see him doing something big at All In. Even if you could do Will Ospreay versus Swerve. You could do that. You really could. You really could. So we'll see what happens. Then let's talk about the other boxing match coming up on the 1st of June. You got Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal. I'm looking forward to this as well. It's gonna be a great fight. We'll see what happens, because obviously if you're talking about boxing, Nate Diaz has more boxing, sort of recent boxing experience, obviously with fighting Jake Paul. So he has recent boxing experience fighting Jake Paul. So it should sort of be in his favor. But Jorge Masvidal does hit harder. He just does hit harder. That's the truth of it. But Nate can box. Nate has the resilience. Nate, you got to knock Nate out to stop him. He's always going to get up. He's got the accumulated strikes. He's got the cardio. Nate can go for days. Jake couldn't finish Nate. In the fight versus Masvidal, he wasn't knocked out. He just was stuck due to a cut. So obviously Nate Nate can win this by decision or accumulated strikes. But I know Masvidal is coming for the knockout. He's definitely coming for a knockout in this one. I can see it. I know for sure he's coming for a knockout. So this is going to be very interesting. I have done a video in this as well, so you can go and watch that. So, but close to the time, I'll do a full prediction and breakdown of how I feel this fight will go. So that's it really for combat. So that's it for like WWE, UFC, boxing, and AEW. I'll just say AOB right now. Any other business? In England here, you've got the general elections coming up at some point. It's going to be Conservative versus Labour, Keir Starmer versus Richie Sunak. Who's gonna get the vote? At the moment, as right now, it looks like it's going to be Labour. So we will see. I haven't done my news stories recently because there's been nothing to really cover. But I will probably do something close to the time, probably regarding that as well. So obviously, if any other news comes up, I'll cover that. But I'll probably do something on that at some point as well. Also in the United States, if you're watching from the United States, the elections coming up over there, you got Biden versus Trump. Who's going to win there? Who's going to win? I think the polls are saying at the moment is Trump. I don't know. I'm not in America. I'm not American, but that'll be quite huge on whoever wins that. So that'll be coming at some point. So obviously, if you're in the United States or you're in England, I'd say make sure you vote. Let your voice be heard. Let your voice be heard. Whether you feel your vote counts or not, it's still, you might as well just vote. It's good to vote. So that's that. And just lastly, I touched before, Drake versus Kendrick Lamar beef. Obviously, really good beef. That's what the game needed, to be shaken up a little bit. I enjoyed it. But the polls have been in. All the polls have come in, not just like all over the place in different music genres. And they say Kendrick Lamar got the victory. Kendrick Lamar beat Drake. That's what they're saying. Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Let me know. Right, so that's my rant, people. That's my rant. That's a rant over. I'm gonna try to do. I'll try to do a rant like every couple of months. I just like to talk about the landscape of things, whether it's UFC, whether it's boxing, whether it's wrestling, WWE or AEW, and touch on AOB as well. So we'll do that in the next couple of months, and we'll see. But I want to say like, subscribe, leave a comment, and thank you so much for your report. And right now, support, I should say. And right now, it's still raining in England. I've been talking for like nearly 40 minutes, and it's still raining in England. Yeah.